B2B email marketing, techniques for engagement. Why B2B email engagement is still worth fighting for. B2B inboxes are crowded, skeptical, and fast-moving, but email is still one of the highest ROI channels in the mix when you treat it like a targeted sales conversation. When executed well, email marketing can return roughly $42 for every $1 spent, which is why serious revenue teams keep investing in it instead of writing it off as dead. The opportunity hasn't disappeared. The bar for relevance has simply gotten higher. That higher bar matters because buyers aren't guessing about their preferences. 77% of B2B buyers say email is their preferred contact channel. The catch is that many also protect themselves from bad outreach by filtering aggressively, ignoring generic templates, and disengaging from brands that feel like spray and pray. If we want engagement, we have to earn it. In this guide, we're approaching engagement the way sales leaders do. Opens are nice, but replies, meetings, and pipeline are the scoreboard. Whether you run an in-house SDR team or partner with a B2B sales agency, the same truth applies. Your program wins when targeting is tight, the message sounds human, and each touch moves the conversation forward. Define engagement like a revenue team, not a vanity dashboard. A lot of teams over-optimize open rate because it's easy to measure and easy to inflate with curiosity-based subject lines. In sales development, that's a trap. You don't get paid for opens, and busy SDR activity can hide the fact that no real conversations are happening. We recommend treating opens and clicks as leading indicators, then optimizing hard around replies, positive replies, and meetings booked. Benchmarks help you diagnose where the leak is. Across campaigns, average click-through rate sits around 2.0%, and B2B tech email conversion benchmarks are around 2.5%, useful baselines when you're evaluating offers, landing pages, and CTAs. For cold outbound specifically, reply rates in the 3 to 5.1% range are a realistic "you're functioning" band. Consistently under 2% is almost always a targeting, deliverability, or message market fit problem. The most useful operational KPI we see is meetings per 100 contacts because it forces clean math across segments and makes it obvious when you're sending a lot of email without generating calendar outcomes. If you're working with an outsourced sales team or an SDR agency, insist on reporting that ties sends to replies, replies to meetings, and meetings to pipeline. Otherwise, you'll optimize motion instead of results. Your list sets the ceiling: ICP, data quality, and segmentation. Engagement problems are usually list problems in disguise. If the wrong titles, wrong industries, or outdated contacts are driving your volume, the best copy in the world won't save your reply rate, and it will steadily damage your sender reputation. The fix is a ruthless ICP that's specific enough to write to, not a vague, mid-market label that forces generic messaging. Segmentation is where results compound. Research regularly shows that deeper segmentation can increase campaign revenue by up to 760% because relevance rises and friction drops when each segment sees a message written for their world. In practice, that means grouping by industry and persona, but also by triggers like hiring, funding, tech stack changes, new territories, or a shift in go-to-market motion. Data hygiene is the unglamorous work that keeps everything else working. Verify emails before you send at scale, remove role-based inboxes, and continuously scrub unengaged contacts so you're not repeatedly hammering people who never respond. Whether you build internally or use list-building services through a sales development agency, clean data is what keeps your domain healthy and your engagement metrics honest. Write like a human and engineer the ask. Strong B2B email engagement starts with sounding like a real person who did a minimum amount of homework. Lightweight personalization is a high-leverage move. Personalized subject lines can lift opens by up to 26%, and it doesn't require writing a custom essay for every prospect. A single relevant detail, industry, tech stack, hiring signal, or a recent initiative can do the job when the rest of the message is focused. The body should be built for scanning. Most prospects are deciding in seconds whether your message is worth attention, so keep sentences short, put the relevance first, and avoid brochure language that reads like a marketing blast. If your email feels like it came from a cold email agency using one template for everyone, you'll blend into the noise, no matter how many quick question subject lines you test. Finally, remove decision fatigue by using one clear call to action. Emails with a single CTA can generate 371% higher click-through rates than messages that compete with multiple links and asks. In outbound SDR sequences, the best CTA is often a simple question that invites a reply, because a reply is the cleanest path to a meeting. Engagement isn't about sending more emails. It's about sending fewer, more relevant emails with one clear next step. Build cadences that create conversations, not spam complaints. Cadence design is where many teams quietly lose. They follow up repeatedly without adding new value, then assume the market is saturated. A productive sequence is additive. Each touch introduces a fresh angle, problem framing, proof, a short resource, a new question, while staying consistent in positioning. As a rule of thumb, high-performing outbound programs often run 6 to 10 touches over 2 to 4 weeks, but the quality of those touches matters more than the number. Timing is also less mystical than people think. If you're sending to multiple time zones, staggering sends and using engagement data to adjust delivery windows will usually beat one blast at 9 a.m. The goal is to meet prospects where they are, especially because mobile is the default inbox for a large share of readers, and a message that looks fine on desktop can become unreadable on a phone. For SDR teams, we recommend treating reply rate and positive reply rate as the primary sequence KPIs, then optimizing everything else around those outcomes. Opens can be helpful for diagnosing deliverability, but they're not the finish line. If you're investing in sales outsourcing or working with an outbound sales agency, insist on cadence governance: what gets tested, how often it's refreshed, and how winners get rolled out across segments. Fix the mistakes that kill engagement fast. The fastest way to tank engagement is spray and pray blasting the same template to thousands of contacts. Untargeted volume doesn't just reduce replies, it trains prospects to ignore you and can degrade deliverability over time. The solution is to tighten your ICP, segment by industry and problem, and measure performance per segment so you can scale what works instead of scaling noise. The second mistake is optimizing for opens instead of replies and meetings. It's easy to win subject line tests that spike opens but produce zero pipeline, and that false confidence wastes months. Set your primary scorecard around replies, positive replies, and meetings booked per 100 contacts, and only keep experiments that improve those outcomes. The third mistake is ignoring mobile readability and sending dense blocks of text or heavy formatting that breaks on small screens. Keep paragraphs short, use plain text styling for early sales touches, and preview every template on mobile before it goes live. When in doubt, prioritize clarity over cleverness, because the buyer's delete button is always one thumb tap away. Use automation and AI without sounding robotic. Automation should handle logistics, not personality. Use it for sequencing, throttling, routing, and triggers, then keep a human in the loop for messaging and judgment calls. That balance helps you scale without turning your outbound into a spam cannon, especially important when your deliverability and brand perception depend on sending emails that look and feel one-to-one. AI is most effective when it's used as an assistant, summarizing account research, suggesting angles based on industry signals, and helping generate variant intros for different segments. At SalesHive, our approach to personalization at scale is to ground every message in real signals, company context, role context, and trigger context, so it reads like a thoughtful note rather than a stitched-together template. The outcome we care about isn't more output, it's consistently higher replies and more qualified meetings. Multi-channel also strengthens email performance when it's coordinated instead of chaotic. A light LinkedIn touch can increase recognition, and pairing email with cold calling services can lift overall meeting rates because prospects get multiple chances to engage in the channel they prefer. If you're evaluating a cold calling agency, a sales agency, or a full sales development agency, look for one that treats email as the core conversation layer while integrating calls and LinkedIn with shared targeting and messaging. What to do next? A practical path to better engagement. If you want to improve engagement quickly, start with a simple diagnostic: segment-level reply rate, bounce rate, and meetings per 100 contacts. When those numbers are clear, the next steps usually become obvious. Either your list is too broad, your message is too generic, or deliverability is holding you back. Fix the constraint first, then test changes one variable at a time so you can trust what actually moved performance. From there, build a repeatable operating rhythm: monthly template refreshes, ongoing A/B tests tied to replies and meetings, not vanity metrics, and a consistent process for retiring underperforming sequences. Treat each segment like its own mini-market with its own objections, proof points, and best CTA. Over time, this creates a library of plays your team can reuse across new campaigns and new territories. If your team doesn't have the bandwidth to run this engine internally, this is where an outsourced sales team or SDR agency can be a force multiplier, especially when they bring list building, deliverability management, and optimization under one roof. At SalesHive, we've built our outbound motion around disciplined targeting, focused copy, and continuous testing, so email drives real pipeline, not just activity. Whether you partner with us or build in-house, the goal is the same: fewer wasted sends, more real conversations, and a steady flow of meetings your closers can convert.